Starfleet has rules that govern its actions in space. Rules about interference and first contact. On the surface, these regulations are not just operational guidelines. They're moral commitments. They exist because the Federation believes itself to be enlightened, evolved, better than the empires and conquerors of the galaxy. The Prime Directive stands at the center of that belief. It's more than a rule. It's a statement about who they are and what they believe. It's the line Starfleet claims it will never cross. Until survival is on the line. Welcome to Screen Rated. Today we're exploring the moral complexities of Starfleet. And if we're being a little cynical, maybe even the hypocrisy built into its highest ideals. Not all Starfleet directives are created equal. Buried deep within Starfleet's classified protocols is a mandate so absolute that it erases all directives entirely. The fifth season of Star Trek Discovery introduced the Red Directive, giving captains wide latitude on classified missions. But that was not the first time Starfleet admitted that its highest principle has limits. That moment came earlier, in Star Trek Voyager, when we learned about something far more dangerous than cultural contamination. A mandate so absolute that the Prime Directive simply does not exist. Although stranded in the Delta Quadrant, Janeway and her crew never diverted from the principles of Starfleet. Even in the most challenging of circumstances, they stuck to its principles of seeking out new life and new civilization, and specifically, non-interference in pre-warp societies. This is the Prime Directive, also known as Starfleet's General Order 1. Yet, all of this took a back seat to a secret mandate that only Starfleet captains and flag officers are aware of. Now, Starfleet officers aren't strangers when it comes to violating the Prime Directive. And at times we have come to expect that. The original series had its fair share of violations of General Order 1, and almost all of them involve Captain Kirk saving some civilization from itself. Kirk's violation of the Prime Directive usually comes in the form of some moral dilemma.
But does our involvement here also constitute a violation of the Prime Directive?
We merely showed them the meaning of what they were fighting for.
Even the more enlightened next generation violated the Prime Directive on occasion as well. One incident in particular involved Data. In episode 15 of Season 2, Data befriends a young alien girl from a pre-warp civilization, leading the senior staff into a moral debate about whether to save her planet from an ecological disaster.
My emotions are involved. Data's friend is going to die. That means something.
To Data, the Prime Directive is not a matter of degrees. It is an absolute.
Other violations are incidental. In Voyager Season 6, Episode 12, titled Blink of an Eye, the ship becomes trapped in orbit around a planet where time moves rapidly and inadvertently affects the planet's civilization over centuries. Some violations, on the other hand, are a little of both. In Strange New Worlds Season 1, Episode 1, Captain Pike violated General Order 1, hoping to correct Starfleet's inadvertent contamination of a world.
Chris, General Order 1 clearly states we cannot
Screw General Order 1.
During Starfleet's battle with the artificial entity in Discovery Season 2 finale, the battle took place less than a light year from a pre-warp civilization, enabling their scientists to gather data. From that data, they created a warp bomb. In an effort to save the inhabitants from themselves, Pike, in a move reminiscent of the original series, revealed the Enterprise in dramatic fashion as it hovered above the city. This incident later led Starfleet to rename General Order 1 as the Prime Directive in order to underscore the rule's fundamental importance. But then we get to Voyager Season 4, Episode 21, where we learn of a directive that makes Starfleet's ideals seem a little hypocritical. The episode starts with Voyager suddenly dropping out of warp after the ship's sensors detect a rare and highly dangerous molecule known as Omega. This triggers an automatic, top-secret Starfleet protocol within the ship's computer called the Omega Directive. It renders even Chakotay's command codes ineffective. Janeway is alerted to the situation. She enters the bridge, removes the alert, and orders all the data sent to her ready room. She also orders the bridge crew not to discuss this with anyone outside of the bridge. However, due to their unique circumstances of being stranded in the Delta Quadrant, Janeway has no choice but to tell the senior staff about the directive. She briefs them on Starfleet's top-secret protocol dealing with the Omega molecule, the most powerful substance known to the Federation. The molecule has the potential to wreak havoc on subspace, rendering warp travel impossible, which makes its containment or destruction a top priority, even if it means tossing the Prime Directive out of the nearest airlock. After some investigation, they trace the source of the Omega molecule to a space-faring civilization. This is where an important scene between Janeway and Tuvok takes place, underscoring the significance of the Omega Directive. Tuvok, in that stating the obvious Vulcan manner, points out the impending violation of the Prime Directive. Janeway's response is shocking. Notice her choice of words here.
Captain, I'd be negligent if I didn't point out that we're about to violate the Prime Directive.
For the duration of this mission, the Prime Directive is rescinded. Let's get this over with.
Janeway doesn't say the directive is suspended. She says it's rescinded, as if it never existed at all. She's saying that within the context of the mission, when it comes to the Omega Directive, there's no such rule as a Prime Directive. This is not just bending the rules like the Red Directive. When it comes to Omega, the Prime Directive is not on the back burner. It is off the stove entirely. There is no moral dilemma with Janeway here. No right or wrong debate like Picard and his senior staff. No philosophical back and forth about upholding Starfleet's principles. Just destroy the molecule by any means necessary. Starfleet frames the Prime Directive as more than just a guiding principle. It's supposed to hold a crew and its captain accountable for their actions. And Janeway thinks herself a strong believer in that principle, as evident in the two-part episode Equinox. When the Voyager crew encounters another Starfleet vessel, the USS Equinox, that is also trapped in the Delta Quadrant, they take a different approach to getting back home. The Equinox crew is killing and harvesting bioenergy from nucleogenic creatures just to enhance their warp drive, allowing them to travel 10,000 light-years in 2 weeks. There's this scene where Captain Ransom of the Equinox asks Janeway if she has ever broken the Prime Directive.
The Prime Directive. How often have you broken it for the sake of protecting your crew?
Broken it? Never.
On the surface, Janeway's answer sounds like moral certainty. Yet the Omega Directive might feel a bit of friction there. Technically speaking, Janeway didn't really break the Prime Directive because it had already been erased by a higher mandate. The result is a sort of an institutional absolution, which is very Starfleet. So when the mission ends, the Prime Directive returns without turning Janeway into a hypocrite. I mean, you can't betray a rule that never really existed in the first place. And since the Omega mission was erased from the computer, on record the captain remained faithful to Starfleet principles even after doing what those same principles would normally forbid. In that sense, the Omega Directive functions more like a reset button that allows Starfleet to preserve its self-image while still surviving the crisis in front of it. But here's the problem. An organization that writes a rule that can temporarily delete its most sacred rule has already accepted that survival sometimes needs a paperwork solution. In the Equinox episodes, Janeway goes to great lengths to remind Ransom of his responsibility to the Federation and its principles. To Commander Chakotay's growing concerns, she fires on the Equinox. She nearly kills an Equinox crew member during an interrogation. She tractor beams an Ankari ship to force their cooperation. She even relieves Chakotay from command for questioning her orders. She's bending the rules, but never breaking them. Nevertheless, her actions come off as a little pretentious, because when it comes to the Omega Directive, Janeway's devotion to the principle of the Prime Directive flies out the window.
Proceed.
Ma'am?
He's still a Starfleet captain. He may have forgotten that for a while. But I believe him.
In the final episode of Discovery Season 1, Commander Burnham gives a speech at a medal ceremony, reminding Starfleet of its principles.
Desperation to destroy moral authority. We have to be torchbearers. We will continue exploring, discovering new worlds, new civilizations. Yes, that is who we are.
The entire speech rings hollow in the face of the Omega Directive. And yet it also shows something deeper. Even in an institution like Starfleet, built on a high moral philosophy, there are still moments where survival outweighs idealism. The Omega Directive sums up the complex rules and regulations Starfleet have to juggle. It challenges the principles of the Prime Directive, pushing beyond the boundaries of what is believed to be an unbreakable rule. Although Captain Kirk would probably argue that rule was always just a suggestion. So what do you think? Is the Omega Directive a necessary evil? Or does it expose a crack in Starfleet's moral foundation? Let me know in the comments.
Council's not happy about it. They're doubling down, renaming it the Prime Directive.
Well, that'll never stick.